Hello, it's December 1st. My name is Vicki and I want to do an introduction. The whole month of December is going to be Vlogmas and I want to vlog most days up until the new year. So let's start. My name is Vicki. I am in my 50s. I have adult children, been married for 33 years. And this channel is about crafting, quilting, as you can see behind me, creativity, ideas about being creative, and I also like to throw in a little bit about life in a northern town, and I want to start a segment in 2020 about frugal living. So I've been a quilter for most of my life. My mom and I made quilts when I was a little girl. We just cut out squares and then we hand tied them with yarn in the corners and gave them to cousins as they were being born. And I do have one of those quilts still. They were made out of double knit polyester. They wear like iron. I also learned as a kid that many things like quilting, tatting, knitting, crocheting, some of these things were kind of in a revival in 76 when I was 10 years old. So you know how old I am. And I wanted to learn all the lost arts. I learned to play violin like my great grandmother did also. And overall, that concept of learning lost arts just followed me throughout my life. And then in 2000, we got high-speed internet. Yeah, we had dial-up first, and it was hard to download patterns and to see pictures, but it opened up a whole new chapter in my quilting career, and also technology with tools and the rotary cutting blade and things where before I did everything by hand, cutting them out. I had a sewing machine, but it didn't work very well, and I hand quilted things. I have a long arm now and have for about 10 years. And I have a Janome sewing machine that I like very much. I still knit and crochet and tat. I do lots of things, and I have mastered quilting. I feel like I have gone beyond the basics in that. I've even had a couple of patterns published and a couple quilts in shows that were juried in. So that was exciting. But I wanted to bring it to YouTube and just kind of talk about how I stay on task and do things. I even quilted and did all that stuff when my kids were at home. Now I have more time, so things are more productive. But behind me, I've been working on this particular pineapple block for a while. I've also been working on my Cricut maker, making lots of different things that are Christmas presents, so I don't want to say too much. And as we go, I will reveal some of the things that I've been working on. I think it's very important for beginners to start at the beginning with basics. Don't do what I did. After I'd made those baby quilts, I ran into someone at college who was my grandma's age. And she was showing her term paper at the community college about quilting. And I wanted to learn how to quilt. I had these aspirations of making things because I had, and I still have, my mom does too, family quilts. And one of the fascinating ones was a 8-pointed star with diamonds. And I've always loved a double wedding ring. So I started out making a 4-ring double wedding ring for my baby when I was pregnant. Don't start with a double wedding ring. Start with something simple. I have given lessons, and I'm going to say the way I learned was learn each different after I did the double wedding ring, and it was a bit of a disaster. Meaning I was so frustrated and thought I could never do it. But then I took a class. They wanted you to hand stitch it, but I machine stitched because back then quilting purists, hand stitched everything like our ancestors. Baloney. Our ancestors had a sewing machine and they used it. So anyway, I took a class and you learned different skills. And that's how I would say anyone should learn a project, just like I learned music lessons. So that's what I'm doing with Cricut Babysteps, small, simple projects, and then adding up to more skills and feel like I know what I'm doing. But still, in quilting, there are times I have no idea what I'm doing. You just kind of jump into the deep end of the pool. that's kind of how my life and my quilting life has gone. Frugal living comes from this idea that quilters have this reputation, crafters too, of having these stashes and hordes of material. I have my fair share. Even when I was at my poorest in my life, I still had enough for a few balls of yarn, a little bit of fabric, and working on a secondhand sewing machine. In fact, I didn't buy my own sewing machine until after the year 2000. I always had a secondhand that was given to me, or I borrowed one. So the frugal living comes from, number one, I didn't have a lot of money, and I learned some tips and tricks on how to live very simply. And I also, now in my 50s, when I do have maybe a little bit more disposable cash, coming from the idea that I don't want to fill the landfill with my junk. I want to use and upcycle and be able to not have a bunch of junk that gets thrown away when I die. Now, is that morbid? No, that's saying I don't want to accumulate too much stuff. And believe me, I have a lot of stuff. I'm trying to get a minimalist mindset. And I have a few things that I have been able to pare down and be minimalist over. And I'm working on adopting more of a minimalist attitude toward my crafting, my creating, as well as other areas in life. So that's what this channel's all about. We'll talk about lots of these things every day as we go through December 2019. And hopefully you'll be with me as we ring in the new year in 2020. Thanks for stopping by. Now, don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel. You get notified every day if you ring the bell for notifications when I post. I will try to be consistent of time of day. But, you know, life happens. And the thing about YouTube is you can watch it anytime you want, right? You just get notified. Overall, I appreciate those who have subscribed, and I appreciate those who have hung with me and are watching. Everybody have a most wonderful, magical December.